Happy birthday, America! For those outside of America, they might not know that it was just the 4th of July, which is the national holiday that celebrates the creation of the United States. Hours were taught. I spent it at Tia Brandy's Hospital for the Mentally Ill. Long story, but since I said I wasn't going to talk about mental health, I got it now. The mind is an emergent property of the human brain, and maybe more. And I'm pretty sure non-humans have minds too. My dog's right behind me. The word emergent means that a process or an aspect of reality that we are familiar with actually arises from a mix of components, but their addition together seems to create something larger than just that simple addition. There's an expansion of complexity. And this is not a video about emergence, but I'm going to link some videos about that in the description area. We, to keep our minds healthy, have to ensure the physical components that make it up stay healthy. Yet, it's actually not enough. Because the thing about emergent phenomena is that they seem to gain complexity when the parts are put together, almost as if it's a multiplication instead of just a simple addition. For those that are kind of familiar with math, or maybe aren't familiar with math, this is kind of saying that when we add two numbers, it makes a certain number. But when you multiply those same numbers, it makes a bigger number. There are a few exceptions. I taught health to high schoolers for 4 years, and I studied anthropology in my undergrad. So learning about the brain and the mind, both parts, was a lot of my preparation for for making this video. Just kidding. For being a teacher, and obviously education wants to focus on how do we keep the minds physically and intellectually engaged, along with filling up with the things we're saying effectively. Learning how to teach how to read, learning about that concept, like how do we visualize words and then say them, and I'm doing this all now. How did I learn to type? How did I learn that this squiggle means that? I know multiple languages. How do I get to store all that up in here? So when we learn about that, then teach it in a health class, we then teach about the anatomy or the parts and the physiology or functions of the brain and then the mind. When I taught the juniors for my last of 4 years, I was able to go a little more in depth into neurodivergence and neurotransmitters, and a little bit of why these then are the ways that mental health receives certain therapies through these pills, and how these then would impact, and we've seen through science how they genuinely impact in demonstrable ways, big words, emotions, moods, and our personalities. And when we kind of get to that science part of it, it kind of breaks ourselves down into these components that we feel uncomfortable, wait, but I'm more than that. And that's the thing about emergent properties. We are more than just the sum of our parts. But why? Anyway, that's not this video. What's important for this video is my learning about being then in the mental health industry of America just for 7 days. Those who in there, they don't believe in what I just said. They do not think that taking care of a patient's physical needs in a dignified, respectful way has any impact on the mind, I guess, because I wasn't given the dignity. I'm not going to go into stories too deep here. That's definitely a book on its way, as my mother said. But I will say that employees at mental health hospitals seem to echo countless authors before me, and they forget us to be simply their neighbors, cousins, siblings, children, possibly, and see us more like we're criminals and they have to keep us in line. So instead of helping my fellow patients and I, they judged us, condescended upon us, disrespected us, they neglected us most of the time. When we asked for changes of underwear, nope, wasn't provided. There were a few good apples that I found amongst them, but it's almost as if once I found them, they're like, oh, they have to change shift. At Tia Brandy Hospital. So from this experience, I must state, in my non-professional opinion, but it's Curtis's opinion, don't send your loved ones to these type of facilities where they're in long-term care. Usually it's our most vulnerable going there, and they return worse. But this video's to be continued.